Air New Zealand flight NZ8263 from Tauranga to Wellington on Sunday the 9th of January 2022 on a de Havilland Q300. Scheduled departure time 5:30 p.m, flight time 1 hour and 20 minutes. There's two of us flying out of Tauranga today, but to different destinations, and there's one person arriving. So there's a whole bunch of different comings and goings, and I'm here several hours early for my flight. When I booked this flight, I got the cheapest flexi I could, and then when I woke up in the middle of the night, I changed it to a more convenient time. I picked my seats and then I checked in online. When I got to the airport, I weighed my bag, and what's better than one set of scales? Wait for it. 2 sets of scales. It's definitely 8.5 kilos. I used the kiosk to check in my bag. I checked it in as a fast bag. Fast bag is available to Star Alliance Gold members and Koru Club members. If your bag's 15 kilos or under, you can check it in and pick it up on the tarmac at the far end, so you don't have to go to the carousel. I put one of the stickers from the end of my bag tag on my bag and the other on the back of my boarding pass, the way my father taught me to. When I went to put my bag through, one of the ground crew and I had a really good chat about fast bags and their evolution over time.
They go through the bag system like normal.
Yep.
But they put it at the tarmac when you land.
Okay, cool.
By the aircraft door at the bottom.
Yeah,
of the
awesome,
ramp.
because I remember how it used to work.
Yeah, you used to put it on the barrow.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
Everyone kept doing it, even though they weren't fast bagging, so
okay.
it kind of became like a bit redundant in itself. So that's the new system now.
Okay,
They
awesome.
take a fast bag tag. So.
Okay, thank you so much.
Cool,
Thanks,
alright.
thanks. See you, bye.
Oh, what a helpful human. Awesome. Now that I'm all checked in and my son's gone back to Christchurch, what else have I got to do for a couple of hours but watch planes land and take off? Awesome. And you can get super close here in Tauranga, which is absolutely fantastic. And I bumped into a fellow YouTuber. We didn't speak, of course, because we're all introverts on the internet. That one's my plane. I'd better go get on it. Now I hope no one minded 88 seconds of mostly Q300s. You never can tell how these things are going to go down. So they called my flight, I lined up, and on we went.
So we're going to be taking off towards the southwest. A left-hand turn will have us heading south at an altitude of 16,000 feet. Flight time is about an hour and 5 minutes. So weather in Wellington awaiting us. What do you know, it's windy, gusting around 70 km an hour on the ground, so you can expect a few bumps as we make our approach into there.
We left the gate at 5:25, 5 minutes ahead of schedule. We taxied for 6 minutes and we took off at 5:31 p.m.
Well, kia ora, and thank you for joining us today on this New Zealand NZ8263, very shortly bound for Wellington. Now, as you're well aware, the New Zealand Government and Air New Zealand require you to wear face mask coverings while travelling on board with us today. Face coverings must cover both the mouth and the nose, and remember to keep your hands clean when fitting and removing the face covering. At this time, to support increased safety to our customers and crew, we ask that face coverings are worn throughout the entire flight, and food and beverage consumption should be kept to a minimum. The safety on board card is located in the seat pocket in front of you. It illustrates the emergency brake position, where the emergency exits are and how to open them.
Tauranga Airport has 4 runways, 3 of them are grass and 1 of them is asphalt. We taxied from Gate 3 via taxiway Alpha 1 to runway 07R25L. We taxied along the runway, turned around at the end and took off towards the west on 25L. A few minutes after takeoff, we turned left and then tracked south towards Taupo. We took a slight right and continued on down to Wellington.
Well, hello again. It's now safe to use all larger cruise electronic devices such as laptops that are in flight or airplane mode. The captain has left the seatbelt sign on, so at this time do remain seated with your seatbelts fastened and refrain from accessing the overhead lockers or using the toilet. We have introduced these temporary changes to support the wearing of face covering during this time and with your safety in mind. Food and beverage consumption should be kept to a minimum. Water is available on request. There will be snacks available as you disembark the aircraft. I now invite you to sit back, relax and enjoy this 1 hour and 5 minute flight through to Wellington with us today.
Omicron is just hitting New Zealand, and so Air New Zealand has halted in-flight service. You can call for water, and I wasn't going to, but my neighbour got some, so I thought, oh, go on then. So I did, and then when I was leaving the aircraft, I got a biscuit. So for my snack, I have water and a biscuit. So you know how when you're not allowed something and then you sneak it, it tastes so much better than if you were allowed it in the first place? Well, that's how it was with this water. I wasn't really supposed to have water, but I got water and it was awesome water. I'm going to give this water 7 out of 10. What? I know, water's water, but this is special water. So I grabbed a snack as I exited the aircraft and I popped it in my pocket. It was a Cookie Time plant-based chocolate chip cookie. It got really melted in my pocket and it just looked horrific. Oh my goodness. I'm going to eat it anyway though. It was actually delicious, but it's an in-flight snack that's snacked outside a flight, still an in-flight snack, and can I count the points? I'm going to pretend it was an in-flight snack, and I'm going to give it 7 out of 10. Good work, Air New Zealand. So 7 points for the magic water, and 7 points for the melted biscuit. That's an average of 7 out of 10. This plane, ZK-NEQ, is a Havilland Q300. It was manufactured in October 2006, making it just over 15 years old when I took this flight. This Q300 was purchased brand new by Ian Nelson and transferred on the same day to Air New Zealand Link. In November 2019 it was transferred again, this time to Air New Zealand. Through its entire operating history it's been painted in Air New Zealand colours, and its flights have all, for all intents and purposes, been Air New Zealand flights. ZK-NEQ was one of the first, if not the first, Air New Zealand Q300 to be repainted from the Air New Zealand Link teal into the new black and white look. Here it is as it rolled out of the paint shop at Christchurch International on the 6th of July 2014. Looking smart, ZK-NEQ. It's configured with 50 economy class seats, and I was seated up the front in seat 2A. Last time I made an Air New Zealand Q300 video I speculated on what they were going to replace them with. I thought probably ATR 42s, and the consensus from the comments was pretty much the same. Well, 50% agreed, and by half I mean one person agreed, and the other 50%, yes, the other one person, the other person, they said They said, no way, ATR 72s all the way. And they had a compelling sounding economic argument. They said that they thought the ATR 72 could turn a profit with only 35% load factor, and they thought that the Q300 needed double that, about 70%. That got me curious, so I did some research and I discovered a number called the average operating cost per block hour. Block time is the time between when the blocks come off the wheels to when they go back on. It includes the time to push back, the time to taxi out to the runway, the actual flight duration, and the time to taxi to the arrival gate. Okay, let's do some maths. It'll be fun. Air New Zealand's current ATR 72s have 68 seats. 35% of that is 23.8, and the average operating cost per block hour for an ATR 72 is $2,247. So if we divide that by 23.8, we work out that Air New Zealand needs to charge $94.41 per seat per hour to break even with a 35% load factor, which feels like what they do charge. Big tick. So what about the ATR 42 or the Q300? Hell, I spent way too long Googling this, but it turns out both of those aircraft cost about the same to buy and about the same to run. But to have a 32-inch seat pitch, they'll have a slightly different number of seats. And if we run the average cost per block hour maths backwards, we find that the Q300 will break even with a load factor of 33.2%, and the ATR 42 with a load factor of 35.7. So when we compare that against the ATR 72, we can see that the percentage load factors required to break even are about the same. But when you look at the absolute numbers, it's quite a different story. The two smaller aircraft only need 17 passengers to turn a profit, so I'm sticking to my guns. ATR 42s all the way. The big problem with my argument, and in fact with this entire conversation, is that Air New Zealand haven't ordered any of anything. They've ordered no ATR 42s and no ATR 72s. They did recently have the 1600th ATR ever made delivered, which is quite exciting, but they don't have enough ATR 72s to service their entire domestic operation. And given the current status of back orders and production numbers at ATR, that'll probably take about 5 years for anything they ordered today to be delivered. With the Q300s being 15 years old, today is probably the day to place that order. Come on, Air New Zealand. You can do it. The seat pitch, or the distance between the rows of seats, is 32 inches. I'm 180 centimetres tall, and that's plenty. The seats weren't uncomfortable, but I wouldn't want to be in them for more than an hour or two. The overhead bins would be a little bit tight for a full-sized carry-on, but my backpack got an okay. And there's plenty of space under the seat if you have a handbag or laptop or whatever. There's also a pocket pouch for your knickknacks or your drink bottle, if you remembered one. Well, that's a pandemic flying pro tip for next time. And in the overhead panel, there's lights, air vents, and a call button. So all in all, a very tidy 15-year-old Q300. Would fly again. 7 out of 10. Thanks, Air New Zealand. Fun fact, we flew over Palmerston North, and look, you can see Palmerston North Airport. Nice! We tracked south down the middle of the North Island. We crossed the southern coast at Turakita Head, turned slight left, then 3 right-hand turns and came into Wellington from the south. We landed on runway 34. Our ground speed was so low we managed to decelerate in time to exit the runway via taxiway Alpha 5, then via Alpha, Bravo 8, Zulu 4, Delta and onto gate 8.
To land into Wellington, please ensure your seatbelts are securely fastened, armrest lowered, tray table folded away and your window shade is open. Welcome to Wellington. For your safety, you must remain seated with your seatbelt fastened until the captain has turned the seatbelt sign off. Your checked-in luggage will be available for you inside the terminal. If you are travelling on another Air New Zealand destination today and you hold a boarding pass, then your checked-in luggage will be transferred to your next flight. If you are travelling onto a regional destination today, it's important to make your way back inside the terminal and scan your boarding pass at the regional departure lounge. Please ensure that you take all personal belongings with you and take care when opening overhead lockers as items may be moved around throughout the flight. It's now safe for transmitting functions on your personal devices to be turned on. These must not be used when crossing the tarmac, and do ensure you follow the clearly marked path to inside the terminal. On behalf of Air New Zealand and your crew, it's been our pleasure bringing you through to Wellington today. We wish you a wonderful 2022 and we do look forward to seeing you again in the future. Mā te wā.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, thanks.
We landed at 6:41 PM, we taxied for 3 minutes and we arrived at the gate at 6:44. That's 6 minutes ahead of schedule. Nice! Let's sum up as I walk through the terminal. The snack, the sneaky water at a bicky, got 7. The plane, a 15-year-old Q300, also got 7. That's an average of 7. Nice one, Air New Zealand. Thanks! Ubers were surging, so I was pretty sure it would be cheaper to get a taxi, so I went to the taxi rank. Wow, how 1990s of me! Driver was nice, fare was fair! Please like this video, subscribe to our channel, and then watch every single video we've ever made. And every one we will make. Thanks.